Welcome please to the JVG podcast, where these G's are gonna spread their seeds of knowledge about the league. It's flourishing with these. These funny catchers seem to be well read, esteemed and honest. Like the man himself, Jeff Van Gundy. They are high IQ, so cerebral and funny. So if you're on the bus, just border on the dunny. Listen to the
JVG NBA Tribute Show.
Good evening! And welcome to episode 134 of the Jeff Van Gundy Tribute Show. I'm your host Lucas, joined as always by my co-host Marco.
Hey Lucas, how are you?
I'm
Not evening is a big fella. Wait.
It is.
Fuck. Oh my god, that's 2 weeks in a row.
That's okay, man.
We've been on the wrong side of history.
Bit of a different feng shui to our anywhere between 0 and 30 YouTube viewers. We're at my mum's place instead of yours. And then previously before we were at yours.
Not my mum's place, my place.
Your place. And previously before that, we were at the apartment that I lived in. So, completely new setup.
I mean, this is location 4, not counting one-off locations like the car in Sydney.
Yeah.
And didn't we record anywhere else?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So there was there was 2 apartments.
Well, there was me. Oh, wait. Alright, location 5 then. There's my house.
Yeah.
My first house.
Yeah.
Recorded a little desk.
Yeah.
Sit nice and close to the little desk and talk to each other. And then there was apartment 1, which was good. Apartment 2, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Really,
Some of our best years
at the apartment 2. And then my house, which has been pretty good.
It's been pretty good.
It's been pretty good, I'd say.
And then this is now the 5th.
And this is number 5.
Normal places to shoot an episode. Yeah, I think that checks out. I mean, in person, of course, because remotely, I feel as though.
Oh dear! on the Zooms.
I was on the Zoom.
It was always in it was always in another digital room.
Yeah.
Every time was a new experience.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Just to top end this episode with a little bit of housekeeping. Just first note. Share us around. You know, we love all the support and all the listenership.
You listen to the podcast. Why don't you do something else for a change? Why don't you share the podcast?
Yeah, get on your, I don't know, do something with it. You know, like
get on your bike.
Get on your fucking bike.
Get on your phone.
And burn it to a CD, and then take it to your nearest friend who has a basketball hobby.
That would be lit if you did that. If someone was like. So if you know how people recommend you listen to things all the time, like podcast music? If someone came to me and gave me, I guess it's like the olden days when someone's like, hey, I burned a CD for you. Like, oh, sick, I'm going to listen to that.
Yeah.
If someone did that to me with a podcast,
yeah,
I would immediately listen to it.
For sure. Because it's so much effort.
I don't have a CD player.
You don't have a CD-ROM drive.
I don't have a CD-ROM drive neither.
Oh!
No.
No, you don't. But you can get one of those ones you can plug in, and your battery goes immediately.
I could put it in the PlayStation, probably.
You can put it in the PlayStation, or if you have a car, maybe it has a CD fixture.
It actually does.
Yeah, the car I'm driving right now also has a CD fixture. So that's number 1. Get our podcast on a CD and then track it over to your nearest friend. But no, for real. I think we're like very steadily and very slowly growing.
Yeah.
We're at least growing our bottom end, I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
We consistently are getting...
our top end, I feel like we're less like this.
Yeah.
I'm doing like spiky motion.
For
no listeners. Look, another guest.
And another
First long time listener, first time caller.
First time feature. Oh Archie.
God, this is so cute.
Archie the dog, we call him. And he's just fucking making himself at home. It is his home after all. But this is Archie for anyone that doesn't know and is watching.
Hi, Archie.
He's sniffing.
He's being really cute.
So there we go. Point 1.
Oh my god.
He's being very affectionate to you. Share the pod around. Point 2. I'm going to be writing an article pretty much every week until the WNBA season starts for each WNBA team. We won't talk about it every week, mainly because... Point 3.
Yeah.
But we won't talk about it every week. But if you do want to get into the WNBA this season, there will be an article kind of laying out each team's, what I think success looks like for each team ahead of the upcoming season. And anything to add to that, Marco?
Yeah, well, and so your first article on this Seattle Storm, it's live.
The first one is out. It's on the Seattle Storm. What will success look like for the Seattle Storm in the 2023 WNBA season?
I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking for it. No, I'm definitely going to read them all, bro.
Thanks, dude.
That's so fine. It's the least I can do.
I appreciate that, man.
Also, Lucas knows the most about the WNBA out of anyone I know. So it's a learning experience for me as much as it will be for you. Well, not as much. I probably know a bit more than you do, listener.
Oh, listener. Yeah.
Not you, co-host.
Yeah. And then point 3, I'm going away in 2 weeks now, which is pretty soon.
What is it? March 28th. 28th, yeah.
Yeah, March the 28th.
Which is a Tuesday.
Which is
when we usually record our podcast.
Unfortunately. It was honestly a 1 in 7 chance. So, while I'm away, you have a little bit of a rotating seat planned. Who have we got? Who have we got to look forward to?
Well, I've asked friend of the pod and probably the most legendary person I know, Alessio Conte.
Yeah, Mr. Conte, man.
To be, I suppose, my main co-host, and he was just so stoked, which is so nice as well. So, given he's a very busy man, I don't know if you know Les very well, but he works at a high school and Woolworths and studies, plus, I don't know, just finds time to cook like the 3 amazing meals a week, and also be engaged to his lovely fiancée, which is
he really does it all.
He really does it all. Yeah. So yeah, we'll try and get him in as much as we can. Our boy Sammy Splash, 64-point Reeves. I'll be asking him on a bit because he does keep up with the NBA more than most of our friends. And you know, part of not the value, but like you're going away when the playoffs are going to be on, and so it's going to be real easy to talk about basketball.
True, that's true.
With people, because people are going to be switched on, engaged, and then we'll just have our old friends over the deep too, Sean Carroll and Dante Boffa, Mr. Boffa man. We'll do a couple of 4-man weaves plus Marco minus Lucas, which I think will be the first. That'll be the first arrangement in that way. You know?
True.
I think you've always been in a 4-man weave.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think the only people that haven't missed him would be Sean and I.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, man, it'd be fun to do one without Sean.
What would happen?
I know. Nothing.
No, I think heaps, but nothing.
Yeah.
Heaps, but more important.
It would have
nothing.
no direction.
Yeah, it'd be like, who's looked at the run sheet?
Yeah.
Wasn't Sean's supposed to set it up?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that takes care of housekeeping.
Point 4.
Point 4.
Still a couple bottles of heat check available if you'd like to buy one. I know that I am being completely outclassed in sales by Sean and Alessio, so if you'd like to buy a bottle off me or Lucas, just hit us up.
I reckon I'm in the Sean / Alessio echelon.
Really?
I reckon maybe not theirs, but I might be firmly in. I might be like Andy Murray.
Yeah.
If they're Federer and Nadal, I'm just there like, I'm obviously not as good.
Right.
But I'm obviously
right.
Leading the pack.
And then who the fuck am I supposed to be? Freaking
David Ferrer.
Yeah, that cuts deep. Actually.
Yeah, I gotta recheck my stocks as well because I gotta deliver quite a few this Friday actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still fucking going. So grab a bottle, grab a jar, and go fucking nuts. that's our slogan.
Cool. So that's housekeeping done.
We can keep houses until the cows.
I actually could, man. I love housekeeping.
But we got more stuff. We got basketball to talk about. We actually have a few topics. Should we stay in Australia to start?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we start on the court or off the court?
Let's start on the court.
Right,
what we did on the weekend, because it's also like what we did on the weekend, which is kind of like housekeeping. So we can.
Wait a second. What did you get up to on the weekend?
Not much. What about you?
Not much. I went to the basketball on Saturday though, with you and Noah Lacey.
Hey, shout out Noah.
Yeah, Marco and Noah met at the game, and. Yeah, great game. Game 2 of Melbourne versus Southside. Game 3 is tonight, if you listen to this the day it comes out, which is Wednesday, the 15th of March for this exact episode. Game 1 saw Southside win. Game 2 saw Melbourne win, and it's a best-of-3 series. Marco, how good has this series been so far?
So good. Again, this is... Well, we sort of warned Noah as we went into this game, like, it's either going to be really good and really tight, or it's going to be really good because the Boomers just completely blow out Southside. But, much like the game we went to against Bendigo a couple of weeks back, a Melbourne blowout is a lot of fun to watch. Like, their offense is just so well drilled. There's lots of jump shots. Tiffany Mitchell was like so honed in on defense. Like she didn't contribute anywhere near as much as she did on offense in the first game, which, you know, that's fine. You scored what did she have, 30 something?
She had 36 or something, but she scored more than half their points.
Yeah. But she was just getting in every single passing lane. I reckon she must have had 3 steals like in the first quarter, or like, you know, if not actual steals, then like interrupting a play, you know, to its death. Kayla George got her groove back immediately. I think she hit 3 threes in the first quarter as well. And yeah, it was just it felt like it was over after a quarter. Southside did a really good job of staying in the game, or, you know, at least feeling like they could make a comeback until there was just that brutal end of the third quarter where Melbourne had a run and then a couple of fouls when it went against Southside, and it was like, all right, this is over. Also, Melbourne were getting a fucking good whistle, I thought.
Yeah. They got a pretty bad one at the end of game 1, didn't they?
Really?
Well, there was one very pivotal call that went Southside's way.
Yeah.
You did mention it, but I did find that it did feel as though Southside was in it in game 2. Maybe not that they'd ever win, but it didn't feel like a 20-point loss the way that Melbourne's win against Bendigo felt like a 40-point. Or it didn't feel like a blowout.
Yeah.
It felt like Southside were alive and they were making Melbourne win the game. And I think following on, or maybe just game 1 more generally, Southside already don't have Lauren Jackson, and Kayla Thornton went down during the game. So it was very, like, them winning that game was really pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And like not only that, but shutting down both Kayla George and Christy Wallace, like it was such an impressive game by them. And I also think it was important for Melbourne to lose that game, because if they had won with Kayla George not playing well and Christy Wallace not playing well, then I don't think that would have set like a good mood. Like if we can win making this many mistakes, then I think that would kind of limit them moving forward. Not that Christy Wallace and Kayla George wouldn't like bounce back. That's all right, bro.
Yeah.
Wouldn't like bounce back and have good games, but maybe just like the energy around the team. I think that it's like it's quite a natural thing to like take your foot off the accelerator after a win, especially after a win when you don't play like at your best. So I think that could be probably the best thing for the WNBA finals. Just like the product of the WNBL finals. But yeah, I think great win by Southside in game 1, and a blow that Melbourne had to absorb, because then we saw in game 2 how they look when they're sharp, and it feels like Tiffany Mitchell knew going into the game that she didn't have to get relied upon, and maybe Kayla George and Christy Wallace between games were like, we got you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about Kayla George and Christy Wallace having bad games, Kayla George, like, yeah, MVP. I don't think you have 2 bad games in a row if you're that sort of player. I don't think you'd let yourself have 2 bad games in a row. And then Christy Wallace, like, she was just angry from the outset as well. Like, God, she was getting so many foul calls on her that was like, okay, but you just like ran into a much smaller point guard. Yeah. Like, who are the two South? I don't have the freaking team sheet. Is it Conti and Rochi?
Conti and Rochi.
Yeah. She was just like, they were doing a really good job on her, but she was just getting every call.
Yeah.
And being very, very aggressive and like, you know, puffing her chest out after every made bucket. Yeah. So yeah, I think those 2 sorts of players aren't going to allow themselves to have, you know, back-to-back bad games. What do you think Southside have to do to win game 3?
Before that,
sorry.
Christy Wallace is just an asshole.
Yeah,
like,
she is.
In like the best way as well. Like she's such a villain. And it's so real, and it's just good. She brings that Melbourne team has just every contrasting personality imaginable.
Yeah.
But she also, now that you say it, I remember Melbourne did get a really good whistle in the second game, and so maybe in game 3 that rebalances and it's kind of called more fairly. I don't think Southside can win down Lauren Jackson and Kayla Thornton. I don't know if Kayla Thornton is out. She was in her uniform in game 2, but she didn't play. So I don't know if she's out. If she's in, I think they need to speed up Melbourne. Because when Maddie Rochi is like running the fast break, she doesn't just control like speed with pace. She controls, She doesn't just control time with her pace, she controls space as well.
Mm.
Like, she just had everyone in the right position.
Yeah.
And, like, her teammate didn't have to be going that fast, but she would drag that whoever was guarding them or guarding the pass just far away enough to, like, find the pass. And in maybe the 4 opportunities she had in transition, I think they got a layup on every single one. So I think they just need to speed their game up a bit. And I don't think they should be trying to match Melbourne's height. I think they should be... Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, you could see early in the game, they were really like, they were trying to go big because obviously Melbourne is just so dominant inside and has such big bodies. But you ended up with, again, what's her name? Who was on Tiffany Mitchell all game, was just getting cooked.
Sarah Blutzars?
Yeah, no.
Poc.
Yeah,
Poc.
Poc.
I can't remember her first name.
Yeah. Poc, you know, like, longer, bigger player on Tiffany Mitchell, you know, to give your wings a bit more size, and it just wasn't working at all. As soon as they went smaller, like when they had Rochi and Conti on, like it just opened up the game so much. And I think that should be their approach. Just like fast possessions, get the ball in one of those guards' hands and just move it up as fast as you can. Like, because you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna stop Kayla George in any shape or form.
Yeah.
You know, she's too dominant inside. She's too good a shooter. She just, like, closeouts mean nothing to her.
Yeah.
So then just try and win the game on the other end.
Yeah. I think you gotta, because when you try and match them, there's like, you're already a step behind because you're already playing their game. So I think you need to set the tone early, which is what they did in game 1. They took the lead really early. Like, they took a really good lead early. And in doing that, you got to try and, like, kind of hope to cause a mismatch. It's going to just be who can cause the mismatch if Southside are to, like, go small in game 3. But, yeah, I definitely think that they just need to completely contrast what Melbourne are doing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, then that'll be on your TVs tomorrow night.
Yeah. That'll be really good to watch, actually.
Legit. At the Boombox again?
No, in Dandenong.
Oh, it's in Dandenong.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'd probably go if it was in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But not in Dandenong.
No.
Well, staying in Australia, and speaking of, you know, fun to watch.
Speaking of massive assholes.
Andrew Bogut.
Oh my God.
Andrew Bogut and Annalie Maley had a little bit of an Instagram back and forth based off of a transgender woman has applied to play in the NBL 1 next season, and Andrew Bogut is just worried about the equality in women's sport in this one.
All of a sudden, he really cares about women's sport. It's a topic that, I know he's very passionate about it because he just can't stop. He can't stop singing the praises of the WNBA and the WNBL and AFLW. Like, it's all just it's all too much for him. Nah, but seriously, man. I think Annalie Maley really said everything there is to say in terms of refuting these stupid arguments that he's making. And his responses were also just like the most piss weak shit. Like, you know, you when you say educating, you mean indoctrinating.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Why do you care about this?
Yeah.
Why do you care about this? Why is this a topic that you are just so passionate about when it's actually got fucking nothing to do with you, for starters? And as Annalie Maley pointed out in her Instagram story, something that, like, nobody in the league cares about. None of the players are concerned about this woman coming in and, like, having an unfair advantage over them. I think they all are very supportive of her joining the league. So, like, why are you generating this issue for anything but just, like, outrage?
Yeah. So this is the initial tweet from Andrew Bogut, and that drinking is Archie, who I just want to make mention has made so much noise already in this episode.
Nah, he's been alright.
But Andrew Bogut. Word is, at NBL 1 South Women will have a biological male playing this upcoming season. Are you okay with sacrificing the sanctity of female sport in the name of inclusion? Hashtag girl dads, where are you? The hashtag is trendy until action is needed. It's just like we've said, why now do you care about women's sport and then also equality in women's sport? And then to go to sanctity of female sport, another thing you don't give a flying fuck about. And then hashtag girl dads, where are you? I saw a lot of WNBL players, well, actually, mainly their supporters being like, what the fuck is hashtag girl dads? And like, you would never do hashtag boy dads if there was an issue in male sport. So it's just like every single part of that tweet was like, yeah, who is this for? I made the mistake of going on Andrew Bogut's Twitter, and pretty much everyone that was in support of him was exactly who you would think they were, you'd think they were. All the comments are, pretty much just run of the mill, like news cycle. And this one guy, I clicked on his Twitter profile. His most recent tweet: "When's International Men's Day?"
Oh my god!
So yeah, it's just weird. And Maley had a one of a and now you care about equality in women's sport. Like, it's so random.
Yeah, legit.
So yeah, I just don't really know. I think this is just to cause chaos, just to like stay relevant, I guess, for Andrew Bogut. But also, I don't know if he's causing harm in like the people that agree with him and disagree with him. I don't think have changed.
Yeah.
But he is just being an asshole, as we started this off with.
Yeah. I don't think there's like an undue influence over like the next generation of Australian basketball fans or anything that Andrew Bogut has. But he is also one of the most famous and accomplished basketballers, in Australian history.
Yeah.
Like he is all over our media. Like, he's very well regarded in the NBA as, like as a retired vet, but whatever. He's sort of who the everyday person would think of if you think of an Australian basketball. Like, I think Andrew Bogut would be like top 3 after, I don't know, Gazy and Ben Simmons or something. Something like that. Fuck, what a trio. But yeah, like, I guess the point is, this guy just doesn't speak for Australian basketball at all. Like, I don't think there's anyone in the men's team who is a huge fan of Andrew Bogut. Like, I can't imagine Patty Mills likes Andrew Bogut very much. I can't imagine your Dyson Danielses and your Josh Giddey's really. Josh Giddey maybe. And then like he's shown nothing but contempt for women's basketball. Like, his only other interaction with the sport is trashing Liz Cambage. Basically, that's the only other time he's ever interacting with Australian women's basketball. So it's just disappointing that he's the person who so many people associate with the sport here. And like I think this is obviously just like a very shitty, mean-spirited thing to say, but he is also like, he fucking loves Trump. The guy loves Trump. He hates Black Lives Matter. Like, he's all over that like far right wing shit. And you do think that stuff, I think it is just eventually damaging that someone who's got this massive platform because of like what they achieved in a sport that's like, probably underrepresented in Australian media, has just all these horrific views.
And I don't think you like explicitly said it, but you kind of what is it? You said the definition, but he does, like, what he says does carry weight. And also something else I was thinking is that maybe this isn't not this specifically, but like maybe Australian media is like heaps focused on just the negatives, because Andrew Bogut is, very talked about because he says all this inflammatory stuff. Liz Cambage, I mean, we've chronicled her last few years. Ben Simmons is that's a bit different because he is like he was incredible, and he's like extremely affluent now. But like Annalie Maley, Kayla George, these are like great people who are like very successful Australian basketball players. Dyson Daniels, Josh Giddey, as like weird as Josh Giddey kind of is,
he's amazing. Like,
he's a great basketball player, and like Dyson Daniels can easily create a bigger brand than Bogut had. And it's just like maybe we are in the niche, like that is more in the niche of being a basketball fan, but then, and last but not least, fucking Patty Mills. Like led us to the bronze medal. That bronze medal in the Olympics not last year, 2 years ago. And like I feel like he's not necessarily making headlines, but he's always in the public space, and I don't think enough effort is put into highlighting like the great stuff that he does. So yeah, maybe there is also like this wider Australian thing where it's like we don't really, or maybe it's just like a global news thing where we don't really focus on people that are like more uplifting and positive.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. I think that's how media is tilted, but it is also like, you know, what's like who is the white Australian media going to listen to? Like, you know, and an Aboriginal Australian, you know, player who really doesn't do anything controversial, just does like good things for like you know, he did so much good stuff in San Antonio as well as what he does in Australia, and like the sort of person he is. But yeah, are they gonna listen to him, or are they gonna listen to the fucking 7 foot tall white guy with a radio show?
Yeah, and backwards views.
yeah. Like it just sort of makes sense that that's who the voice is. But I don't know, like there's a part of me that hopes that Australia just doesn't produce basketball players like Andrew Bogut and Andrew Gaze anymore. Like,
yeah, probably.
Like I think, like if you look at the young players coming through now, like I mean, yeah, a lot of them have like African American parents, or you know, and then Josh Giddey is just like a swag king. So, you know, like I can't imagine in 10 years he'll be like, you know, nowadays you can't bloody say, oh, thanks, Sheila, or whatever.
Yeah.
Go down them.
Could you imagine that though? The face of, I'm the opposite. Like the face of like forward thinking in Australia is like an ex-Scabs boy.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need.
Fuck.
That's exactly what we need.
It's so true. And what's his face from freaking Euphoria? Man, it's really the decade of St. Kevin's.
Oh, what's his face from Euphoria?
I've forgotten his name.
Anyhow.
Oh, wait, I don't have internet.
You look that up. Oh, yeah.
Half an hour into the pod and...
Half an hour into the pod.
We reveal we don't have internet.
Well, should we take a little break before we come back and talk about the play-in?
Sounds good.
Play-in in the West is pretty tight, isn't it, Marco?
It's so tight. Should we look at it exactly how tight it is?
I think so. Should we also, though... I've gone 5 through 12 for the West. Have you done?
No, I've
4
got
through 13,
I got 5 through 12.
5 through 12. So I was gonna include the Blazers, but I was like, nah. They're like it's just far away enough that I'm not going to include them.
Yeah.
But do you want to take us through 5 through 12?
So let's do a quick. And at the other end, like the Phoenix Suns, they're a game and a half ahead of 5, but like Kevin Durant should be back at some point.
Yeah.
and they should be okay. So. Yeah, we'll go. Should we list them all and then we can go through them one by one? Or should we?
I can go 5 through 12.
So Golden State Warriors sitting 10.5 games back from first place. The Los Angeles Clippers also 10.5 games back from first. Minnesota Timberwolves 11.5 games back. Dallas Mavericks 12.5 back. Los Angeles Lakers, New Orleans Pelicans, and Oklahoma City Thunder all 13 games back.
Yeah.
And then the Utah Jazz rounding it off in 12th place at 13.5 games back. So that's 3 games between 8 teams.
Yeah, between 5 and 12. Although I do feel as though this is a pretty good ordering. Like I don't feel like I think it's starting to kind of take its own shape.
I actually think this is how it'll end up.
I think that there could be 2 changes.
Yeah.
But nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
Do you think the Warriors or the Clippers could jump up into that top 4, or do you reckon that's pretty defined?
I think the Warriors could. I think it will just depend on how, because KD might not come back until the last week of the season and just ramp up before the first round. That would sort of be my prediction for what will happen with. Man, I actually thought he'd just be out for a game when he fell over. I'm like, no, you're not getting injured for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's KD. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the Warriors, they're in a really good run of form at the moment. I think Stephen Clay had. It felt like the first time they'd combined for 50 plus in a really, really long time today, where it was like, oh, they're both shooting really, really well at the same time, like a sort of old Splash Brothers reunion. But yeah, I think Phoenix have also been Devin Booker has been incredible without KD on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, I think just having KD on his roster has sparked something in him that. So yeah, I don't think the Warriors will catch Phoenix. I don't think the Clippers will, because I don't think the Clippers are very good at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're solid. I think 36 and 33, whatever that is as a percentage, is a good reflection of like how they are, and that'll probably just scale up for the rest of the season. It does feel though the Warriors are kind of clicking, and it might be exactly the right time to start clicking.
Yeah,
because they've had the game against the Suns today was like methodical. Fucking Iggy threw down a reverse dunk.
yeah.
And then yesterday, was it Bucks or Celtics that they had that OT game? That was against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And like Steph like brought the game, or like he closed the fourth quarter out incredibly well, and then he like pretty much won the game in overtime.
Yeah.
And with the last 13 games, so those 2 games plus the last 13 games, if you can get 15 like games of your team humming like that, then I think the top 4 in the West should be pretty worried.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, the bottom end of this little play-in race, we have the Utah Jazz, the 33 and 36 Utah Jazz. I do feel as though they could drop out. But I don't think that they really have. They have a realistic chance based on record, but you factor in their hardest strength of schedule remaining in the league, which is 0.557. Yeah, I think that they might even slip to 13th, and the Blazers might jump into 12th.
Yeah, and like 2 of their easiest opponents per Tankathon, not Marco. Marco's patented strength of schedule calculator. Yeah. They got 2 games against the Lakers, which will, whether or not the Lakers are sort of as good as they think they are, they'll be really hungry in those games. Like the Lakers will look at that as 2 wins for them, basically. But against a Jazz team that probably like doesn't have anywhere near as much interest in making the playoffs as anyone else, in these standings as well. Because if they fall to that 13th spot, they'll have. That'll give them. I wonder what it'll give them actually. I mean, it'll give them like a top 7, top 8 pick, which will be useful in whatever direction they decide to go in next year. And Portland really, we know Portland always have everything to play for.
Yeah.
It's championship or bust in Portland.
As much as the Jazz as much as the Lakers want to win those 2 games against the Jazz, I think the Jazz want to lose those 2 games against the Lakers. So that also plays in the Lakers' favor.
Yeah.
But do you think it's going to be similar order? Because my only thing would be, I think that the Mavericks and the Lakers might flip, might switch.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah.
Wait, what did I say? Lakers and the Mavericks?
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
So Lakers up to 8th and Mavericks down to 9th?
Mavericks down to 9th.
Yeah.
And then, I think that the Pelicans will stay in 10th, the Thunder will stay in 11th.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that this will probably be the order. But how many of these teams do you reckon are actually ready for a playoff series?
3.
Being?
Well, the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
I think the Los Angeles Clippers. I think once they get to the playoffs, they'll be okay. Whether or not you can make a deep run with, deciding to commit to Russell Westbrook as your point guard or not is another question. And I think the Mavericks will be. We know that Luka can drag you through a playoff series in one form or another. I think the Timberwolves, things are sort of starting to click with Gobert and the rest of the team, not with Karl Anthony Towns. So then when you get to the playoffs, the time of the year that Rudy Gobert is famously at his worst, then that might be interesting. The Lakers... Yeah, do you think the Lakers are playoff ready, actually? I'll flip that back at you.
Flip that back on me. I mean, if you add LeBron to a team, then I think that they're playoff ready. If LeBron will come back for the playoffs, that's still up in the air. Because I think the last report was that he was going to get reevaluated at the end of the season. I assume he would play. And then this roster, man... We didn't talk. We stopped talking about them for like 4 weeks. But this roster just looks so good, especially around LeBron, and then AD's just like catching form as well. So I think
Vando had like fucking 20 and 15 the other day or something like that. Like he was just lighting it up from 3.
Yeah.
Him and OG Anunoby just going back and forth. True battle of titans.
Speaking of players who are having hot streaks, Jabari Smith Jr., first teenager of all time to have 20 and 10 in back-to-back games.
Really?
And nothing from the left media.
Who the fuck? Nothing from the left and media. Who the fuck would have thought that letting him take shots means that he'd hit some?
But not like one of the games he had 9 of 11 shooting.
Yeah.
Like and
I think today he had like 80% or something
in
a win against the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I think it was today.
Yeah.
And Jalen Green had fucking 8 of 29 shooting.
Yeah.
How?
And was their leading scorer.
Jalen Green. He had 28 points on 29 shots.
God, he's...
Yeah, how hard it is to return less than a point per shot attempt at 28 points.
And in a win against the second best team in the league as well.
Absolutely mind-boggling. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, well, the Houston Rockets are definitely stuck firmly to that 15th seed.
Yeah, they are not jumping into the play-in race whatsoever. But back into the play-in race we go. Yeah, I feel like what is it even for, you know? Like, the whole play-in race, it's like, oh, there's 3 games separating 5th and 12th. But what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Because the top 4 teams are so much better than, I want to say, all of these teams but the Warriors. The Clippers on their day can look great against any of those top 4 teams. Same deal with the Lakers. Maybe if the Lakers had 40 more games into... Not even LeBron or AD with the role players, but just the role players together, and maybe even the role players with Darv and Ham, then maybe. But that's a massive qualifier that isn't reality. So if you want to kind of like sift through this play-in picture, first, what are you trying to win? What are you trying to earn? Is it a play-in spot? Is it a playoff spot? Is it a first-round series just to get that experience into your players? But the top 4 teams are like let's call it 5 with the Warriors. So much better than all the other names I'm looking at right now.
I kind of agree with you, but I think this year more than last year, there's like, I don't know, there's maybe some heads you can scalp. Like, if you get the 7 seed, if you get the 6 or 7 seed, let's say, you'll either be playing against Memphis or Sacramento, because I think the Kings could jump Memphis potentially.
Yeah.
If Ja isn't back by the playoffs, which I'm like 99% sure he will be.
He will be, yeah.
Then we don't know. We don't know what's going on there. But I just think that whatever is going on, it will be geared at getting him back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he's not there, then like that is a very winnable series. Like Steven Adams has been ruled out for the year, for the rest of the season. So they've already been a bit weaker without him, even when Ja Morant was playing. I mean, they're on a 3-game winning streak. So like we know this thing when Ja isn't playing that they're still good. But like I think you see a potentially winnable series if you're like the Clippers or the Mavericks or the Lakers.
Yeah.
With the Sacramento Kings, like, I mean, I'm actually quite bullish on them. I think they will be quite good in at least the first round against one of those weaker teams. But again, like, that is the sort of team that someone like the Clippers might like themselves against, you know? Like, if the Clippers sort of go playoff defense instead of regular season offense in a couple games against them, then, you know, maybe that's winnable. If Kevin Durant doesn't come back for the first round, like, you know, we know what happens to that Suns team. We know what happens to that Suns team when they're not quite feeling themselves in the playoffs. Like, it's very winnable. That being said, like, if you're the Timberwolves, the Pelicans, probably the Lakers as well. Yeah. Like, you're making the playoffs because you have to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just because that's sort of the benchmark. For the Pels, it's like, there was a report, I think yesterday, that they're hoping Zion will come back for like last week of the regular season and the playoffs, and that's all it would be. It would be like, get Zion playoff reps, you know, get him in a first round series, see what he can do. this season's been ruined by injuries, so like you're not going anywhere beyond that. But just like that's what it would be for.
Such a fall from grace for the Pelicans of New Orleans.
Nuts, man.
Do you know what your record is this year, 2023?
I'm gonna assume it's like.
Do you want me to tell you how many games?
Yes.
31.
I'm gonna say 12 and 19.
9 and 22.
Wow, so
Yeah.
even worse.
Yeah, because I
Fuck,
feel
man.
like you were first before then.
We were.
Like first at the turn of the new year.
Oh, God.
And now you're in 10th. And honestly, it's not as eyebrow raising as it should. Oh, nah, it's so understandable.
yeah. It's just injuries. But then, I mean, friend of the pod and future co-host Alessio Conte said something very nice to me. He was like, nah, man, your season's been ruined by injuries. And it's like, yeah, but also like our best player is Zion Williamson, who, you know, that's the deal with him.
Yeah.
Is he's going to get injured. Our second best player is Brandon Ingram, who rarely plays more than 70% of the season.
Yeah.
So like you also have to bank on not having him for a stretch.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good way to view it as well.
Yeah.
From your perspective.
Yeah.
These Grizzlies as well have a pretty bad away record. I'm actually always shocked at how bad the away records are.
Oh man, the Golden State Warriors.
But for even the top teams, like Denver are 500 on the road. The only team above 500 are the Sacramento Kings.
That's
and then
so sick.
Randomly, the Clippers are also 500 on the road, so it doesn't really matter where they play.
No fans either way.
In the East, it's a bit different. They're quite dominant regardless of where they're playing, especially the Bucks and the fucking Celtics.
Man, that's so funny. The Warriors have the same away record as the Detroit Pistons.
No, oh my god,
7 and 26.
Yeah, as you said, as you're talking about the Grizzlies, you're probably you're right actually about like finding your footing at the end of the season as one of these play-in teams because these are quite winnable series. I think KD is like guaranteed to be back and healthy in 2 weeks. I think the fact that all of it was precautionary. Like he rolled his ankle in a warm up. I think that it's just like, oh no, let's just keep this guy for the playoffs. He'll fit into anything. But of those play-in teams, I actually think the Lakers could beat the Kings or the Grizzlies, but I don't think that the Mavericks, Wolves, Pelicans, I don't think they would. And I don't. It's a maybe with the Clippers because, again, speaking of recent hot streaks, Kawhi has started to regain his own sort of form. There's been a few plays where it just looks like he walks into the key and then he'll just dunk on someone.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're doing this at like half pace, you're obviously just playing the defender so much.
Yeah.
So that like, once you are like rearing to go and you're in a playoff situation, who knows what that play is going to look like. Like, it's not just about like lulling the defender into where you want them to go. You're going to be like, oh no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you're going to do about it. But I think maybe the Clippers will be, or not maybe, but I think the Clippers are going to be very fun to watch in the playoffs. As of right now, they would be playing the Sacramento Kings.
God, it would be such a good series.
It will be, man. It will
be
be
so good.
I think I would actually prefer Clippers Grizzlies.
To add watchability or for the Clippers? I think for the Clippers.
You know what? For me,
Yeah.
I would prefer to see the Clippers because as of like, if it was Clippers Kings or Clippers Grizzlies, I'd be like, shit, I don't like that for the Grizzlies or the Kings. But I want to not like it for the Grizzlies. I don't want to not like it for the Kings.
I don't know.
I want the Kings to
I want
get
the
to
Kings. I want the Kings to win a playoff
I want the
series.
Kings in round 2.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That would be so good. They look so... Man, they were playing Milwaukee today. They lost, but they just looked so... They just dismantled the Bucks D in like a way almost no one else has this season, which I think that should be their playoff, like, you know, their secret power in the playoffs is like, all right, cool. You know, maybe we can't defend your best player because they actually can't. Like, they can't defend anyone's best player, but like we can destroy your defensive schematic. You know, I think they they can do it to anyone in the league. I think the Timberwolves might drop off a bit. I'm just looking at their run in. They have they got Boston, Kings, Nets, Suns, Warriors. They got a game against the Knicks, and God, I think the Knicks would win that. And then they got Pels and Lakers, who are both fighting for a spot there.
Yeah.
And they got the Raptors, who are like kind of surging a little bit themselves. I don't trust this team to win any of those games.
Nah, neither. It still feels like their season hasn't really started.
Yeah.
Like they've had a couple of good stretches and
like Ants had a couple of good stretches, but then just not turned it into 2 months of good play.
Yeah. I feel like I would love to take over the Timberwolves this off season and just be like,
mate, it's like the most coveted man in the business is their GM.
But legit, I'd be like, day one. As soon as the finals finish, I'd just like mass group text. You can't touch Ant or McDaniels, but my phone is just like by my side. Whatever you want. I'm open to the idea, but there is no way Ant or McDaniels is going to be in that deal.
Yeah.
But Ant has had some like incredible stretches, making me really remember why I picked him to be top 3 in the MVP. Speaking of that Bucks game, dude, did you see Brook Lopez's game a few days ago with the 9 blocks?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's so good.
Me and Sean were just talking. Me and my buddies were just talking. We were just talking about how the Jaren Jackson Jr. DPOY media trainer kind of dropped off a bit because he's been a bit shit since Steven Adams got injured. Not shit, but he hasn't been getting 5 blocks a game.
Yeah.
Also, since they got rid of that pesky scorer. I was like, yeah. Now there's no narrative around it, which I think is a good thing. I think DPOY narratives are really strange because Marcus Smart's last year was one of the worst things I've ever experienced. Period. But then and then Brook Lopez had 9 blocks in a game. It's like, oh, okay, there it is.
It has started at the right time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know as if I'm looking. I actually don't know where he ranks as a defensive player of this year, of the season.
Yeah.
But that 7-footer, man, maybe 5 years ago, people were like, the big man's dying. It's like, no, dude, none of them are good enough.
Yeah.
And
true.
They were just they didn't know how to defend.
Andre Drummond was all NBA third team or something like that.
They didn't know how to use them defensively. They put them in this drop that was just way too far away from the pick and roll, or they'd bring them way too high up. And now I think Brook Lopez is the best at it. It's like this pseudo coming to the level, but I'm not in a full drop.
Yeah.
You can absolutely get an open 3 off the dribble. I can get half a contest to it. But what I think has been the best thing that he's done this year is when he does get attacked, he only turns once. He only ever turns and opens up to his player or to the guard one time. You never see him getting turned around. And I feel like his philosophy, I would love to ask you about this, but I feel like his philosophy is either you're going to have half a step on me, but you're never going to have a step or a step and a half or 2 steps on me. And I'm going to keep you here. And you know what? I might get dunked on a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the way that he's defending, the micro movements of what he's doing in defending in the drop is just it's kind of revolutionary.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the counter to those, the athletic 7-footer who gets a lot of blocks, but doesn't impact the game defense. Hassan Whiteside or Jackson Hayes or something like that. It's almost like he's not athletic enough to make the mistakes those players make. Where it's if Hassan Whiteside's committing to something, he's committed. That's where he is on the floor. But because Brook just uses obviously he's incredibly strong. He's got a good vert for someone his age, and he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
But he uses his brain rather than his wingspan or his movement. Players like Giannis, Jaren Jackson Jr., they can get away with okay, we are freakishly athletic and we can kind of jump from one side of the key to the other at will and and then recover if we've made not the wrong decision, but if we've let someone leak through or something like that. Brook that doesn't have those talents.
Yeah.
And there's 2 or 3 players in the league who do. So yeah, like you said, it's all about like hedging where you are, being like between, being less than a full step away from like whatever decision the defender makes.
Yeah. I'm excited to see them in the playoffs as well defensively. I want to see, because I feel like I haven't really seen like a Brook Giannis. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen them in a high leverage situation since they won the ring. And I also, when they do play together, one of them's coming off an injury. One of them's playing their way back into form. One of them's playing 20 minutes a night. Yeah. Maybe it's not the matchup for Brook Lopez that night. So yeah, I'm excited to see how they work because maybe in a similar way that Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. work, but just like the steadiness of Brook Lopez, you just can't account for some of the shit Giannis does defensively. Yeah. Like there's only so much you can game plan for, and then he's just gonna make a freakish play at least once a quarter. Yeah. And then when he has someone so solid like Brook Lopez anchoring him, he can make even more of those plays. Fuck, man. The playoffs are going to be sick.
Wouldn't that be crazy? If Brook does win DPOY, just from a completely superficial standpoint, that, like, the credentials of that team will be so crazy.
True.
Like, 2 DPOYs and, like, the greatest DPOY who never was in Drew Holiday.
Oh,
like,
true. Drew Holiday.
That's... Yeah, like the people will go, oh yeah, obviously that was one of the best defensive teams of the 2010s. They're like, yeah, it was. The 2020s, sorry.
It makes sense. If you would like to go or add anything, please tell me. But I had a little thought experiment of my own today. How the fuck do the Nuggets get another player on this team? Because I went to the Fanspo trade machine and I was looking at adding either Jaren Jackson Jr., Nick Claxton. I'm sure you can probably guess like the type of player I was thinking. Those fives that can defend on the perimeter. And man, we really fanboyed on him last week, Mr. Jokic, but it was even more today. Like other than Michael Porter Jr., who has massive holes in his game defensively, Jamal Murray, who isn't the player he used to be and is from I don't know, the 15 Denver games I've seen this season, is a really bad defender. They have massive holes in their game. Aaron Gordon, I still don't know if it's like legit, if it's going to be good in the playoffs. But other than that, dude, I don't really know what value you can kind of throw into a trade. KCP probably isn't shifting the needle on a Nick Claxton deal.
And you don't want to give up KCP anyway.
Yeah, and KCP is one of those guys that is not as talented as those other guys, but it has less holes in his game and is so complementary to what Jokic does. But yeah, man, I just don't know what move this team can make. Yeah,
it's tricky. And like, MPJ's been having a good season. And then who did they lose to? Who was it? Someone really funny. Oh my god, I'm completely...
They're on a 3-game losing streak.
Who did they lose to yesterday?
It was a freak. It was a weird
one, OT against... just the funniest person. It was the Nets.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And Royce O'Neal was defending Jokic in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, dude, I was watching that game. He had the most insane last 6 minutes of that game. Yeah, because I think Denver were down by 13 or 16 points, and then it was like 3. Yeah, and then Brooklyn just, I couldn't tell you how they kept the lead. Just kept getting free throws on. It didn't even seem like they were shooting fouls. Yeah.
But Mike Malone brought MPJ off, even though he was like 7 of 9 from the floor or something like that. Which, you know, the argument for is like, okay, well, Brooklyn have like 4 really, really good wings who are just going to attack him. Well, you know, really, really good in the way that Brooklyn players are really, really good at the moment. Like, you know, from Mikal Bridges to Dorian Finney-Smith being the range. But then it's also, like, he just seems so offside with Michael Malone. Yeah. He's having a good season, but then, like, nobody wants him, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, based on how well he's playing, his value isn't going up because it's like, he's come back from injury, he's kind of playing well. Everyone's still like, but like, how worth it is he really if he's only playing 28 minutes a game and, you know, scoring, again, no internet, but I assume he's scoring less than 20 points a game. That's going to be my assumption. Yeah. And then, Jamal Murray. I think he'll come good, but yeah, who wants to take a punt on him at the moment as well? So are they even very good assets for Denver?
Yeah. This was exactly what I was thinking, and I was like looking at it from. I just completely scrapped the idea of doing it with the Grizzlies, and I looked at it from the Nets side, and I was like, why would they do this deal? And they also don't have picks to trade.
Yeah.
I think they can only trade the 2029 pick.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know who. Was it for Aaron Gordon that they?
They gave up at least a pick for Aaron Gordon, but
Yeah.
I didn't think it was much more than that.
Neither, unless they've just been giving up like one first round pick here and there in separate deals.
What the hell?
But I can't. But I don't know. But I don't know. Anyway, this game yesterday, the last 15 points for the Nuggets, Jokic either scored or assisted on, and it just for a stretch there, it was like back to back plays that they just got like a fucking unbelievable look, and then back to back plays where Jokic went on this other streak of mainly scoring, but also chucking in an assist in there. And yeah, I just I think this like really good season. I don't know. I'm a bit concerned. I'm a bit concerned for it being a bit misleading. Not to say that they're not gonna like do well these playoffs. I just don't see much success outside of like the next 3 months for the Nuggets.
Yeah, right.
And I also don't think they're gonna win the ring.
Yeah. Do you think they could? Is
No.
there...
No. Short answer is no. Just like I couldn't imagine the Celtics or the Bucks. I couldn't imagine them not just playing the most gimmicky, not the most gimmicky possible D, but they'll limit Jokic.
Yeah.
And then be so happy.
they're so well set up for it as well. Obviously the Bucks we just talked about, but oh man, Boston could throw anyone on him and then have Robert Williams like behind him.
Yeah.
and it would just take away so much of his game.
Yeah.
Ah, God, that's really depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, who knows though? He's also just like turned so many players into better than what they actually are.
Yeah.
That I just don't think it's outside of their reach to kind of overperform in the playoffs, especially Jamal Murray. Like, I don't want to believe Jamal Murray is just cooked.
Yeah.
From that injury, because like, what is the playoffs? When was it? 2 seasons ago? He was just dropping 50 and shit. Yeah. Was it? It was in the bubble.
It was in the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
crazy.
That is the positive for Jamal Murray is like, so many players don't perform in the playoffs, and he has, and I think that speaks volumes. And even though he's coming back from injury, I don't know. I think from absolutely no basis whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a mental thing.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny that they haven't found their like groove and they have the best record in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who would be their closing five? Because I personally would go Murray, Brown, Bruce Brown, not Christian Braun.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown, KCP, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic.
I think that's it.
Yeah. That's it. That's like the least mistakes team, I think.
Yeah. And there's theoretically 5 guys who can hit threes.
Yeah.
There's 3 good switchy defenders. There's Jokic defending well on a good night. Yeah, and Jokic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there is also, it is like, if Jamal Murray isn't, in like 2020 bubble form, then there's not much shot creation outside of like, the best shot creator in the league. But
Yeah, because you got like the Bruce Brown cutting, KCP off ball, Aaron Gordon cutting as well.
Yeah.
And then you can't double Jokic.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Now I'm kind of into it.
It's a really good closing 5. And I think I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is in it either.
Yeah.
Purely for defensive reasons.
Yeah.
Like, because, I don't know, I just think if you can have 3 really good defenders instead of 2 on the floor, you should.
Yeah. And I also don't know what Michael Porter Jr. To go back to the trade thing for the Nuggets, I don't know what role he's coming into.
Yeah.
Like, what role is he going to do to support a team? Because I think that he's going to be one of those guys that's, like, perfect for an off-the-bench, like unbelievable scorer off the bench. six men's. But he's on 30 mil, I think.
Yeah.
something?
Is it 30? Yeah, it's a lot.
It's 30, yeah.
Fucking hell. How old is he?
It's 30 and it'll be 40 in 4 years.
Okay,
So
no.
it scales up heaps. He is very young though. He is 24.
So, like, let's say the Brooklyn Nets get him as, like, I mean, he's not a reclamation project, but they're like,
Yeah.
good young player for our next team. You're paying him that much, yeah. You pretty much have to start him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably like, you're sending Denver probably Nick Claxton or Mikal Bridges in that deal.
No, not
as
Mikal
well.
Bridges.
Yeah.
No.
They're going to get much more for Mikal Bridges. But I just mean money wise.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of who's getting paid that ballpark.
Well, is it crazy to say Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton?
Oh,
Let's see.
Don't put Ben Simmons in Denver, man.
Why? I like it.
Yeah, but I don't think he's good.
Neither, and I think the money thing's an issue. But just from like a Jokic having him on the court with him, I like it.
God, that could be crazy.
I think it could
If
be.
he did good things, it would be so good. You know what I mean? Like,
That's so funny.
like, you know, if he cut and or just hung out in the high post or something, it could be good. But is he gonna do that? Like,
I think
oh god, Jokic and Ben Simmons could be like the best 4-5.
because I think that Simo is like his basketball IQ is incredible, and I think he would see the court in not a similar way to Jokic, but I think he would kind of get what Jokic was going for very early on and figure out how to be just like a good teammate.
Yeah.
And then also, what's his contract? Show me his contract. He's got 2 years remaining in his deal, Ben Simmons. So perhaps that could be part of the what's it called? The pitch for Denver would be like, oh, we'll take this guy off your books. Like, don't worry about paying him over the next 2 years.
Right.
And then Nick Claxton's I think a restricted free agent this upcoming offseason.
Right.
But as of today, the money works.
Yeah.
But now we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. And is that a flyer that I don't think that's the sort of flyer that a team like the Denver Nuggets take. But I actually like. There's already so many deficiencies in Michael Porter Jr. and also like Michael Malone isn't a fan of him. So if you get another player who has potential deficiencies but maybe is a better fit next to Jokic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, sorry, definitely is a better fit next to Jokic. Would you do that? Would you do Jamal Murray, Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, Ben Simmons, Nikola Jokic?
Oh my god, not even playing Nick Claxton.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. True. Shit. Fuck, there's not enough room on this team.
Yeah. I think you'd go far out.
And then there's no KCP in there. Or maybe KCP instead of Bruce Brown.
KCP instead of Bruce Brown. Aaron Gordon at the 3. Damn, actually now it's getting a bit too heavy.
Yeah.
In the front court.
We'll just give you options, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe Ben Simmons isn't actually closing games for you.
Yeah.
Nor Nick Claxton.
Oh yeah, it could just be like you still have the option of that 5 that we said, and then you could alternate Claxton or Simo in for any of those pieces.
Yeah. Because they still don't. Still, the problem was so much worse last year, but it is still a problem. Like, there aren't a lot of options for this Denver team. Like, there's only really a couple lineups they can throw out.
Yeah.
This Christian Brown guy might be pretty good, but like, yeah.
I believe it when I see it.
And yeah, no freaking Bones Highland. So.
Oh yeah. They've really missed him.
Man, I can't believe they got Reggie Jackson. I actually haven't watched a Reggie Jackson Denver Nugget minute yet.
Neither. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, I've heard it's bad.
I've heard things. And just a quick Nashon Bones Highland check. He is getting less minutes, less shots. Yep, less assists.
On a worse team?
On a worse team.
Wow.
So hey, bet on yourself.
Alright, well that was a nice 15-minute coda there.
Yeah, I like that.
To the episode. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, listen to our podcast.
Yeah. Keep listening, share it with your friends. Buy Heat Check.
Oh yes.
Free love in the new year.
Yeah. And see you.
Bye.